All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar this morning, The Value of eFileCabinet, Keep Work Where It Belongs. And my name is Paul Conterio, and I appreciate each of you being on this call today. And I want to make sure that everyone can hear me okay. I noticed that earlier some responded. And again, if you can just click the little hand in the go to webinar window there, I just want to make sure I'm being heard. It looks like I am, so awesome. Thank you. Well, as we get going, also in that go to webinar window, there's a place where you can, if you'd like, I've put a couple of documents there that you can download. One of them is a testimonial page, and it's just a page that you can actually click on, and it goes to some of our customers' testimonies. And another one is a page that is this document here, the unexpected benefits of working from anywhere. So those you can grab if you'd like and take them. And hopefully you're seeing me okay. So let's get started. A little bit about me. I'm from the small town of Chicago originally. We are here in Utah. And I've worked for a number of companies throughout my life. Today, however, I can remember an event that happened 41 years ago today. I can tell you where I was when this event happened, and it's kind of sad for two reasons. One, that I'm old enough to remember what happened 41 years ago. And number two, it was the passing of Elvis Presley. And so a light bulb went off, and I could just see everything around me when I heard that news. Now I'm old enough too to remember where I was when President Kennedy was shot. But I've worked for a number of companies in those years, and I've worked for ITT Corporation. I worked for US West. I worked for Novell. I worked for the pineapple companies in Hawaii for 4 years, for Maui Land and Pine on the island of Maui, for Dole Pineapple, which was then owned by Castle Cook, on the island of Lanai. And one of the things I've realized throughout the years working for different companies, if a company mistreats its employees, it can only really pretend to care about its customers. And because customers and employees were people, and so one of the things I've loved about eFileCabinet, I've been here now 11 years. And this has been a great company to be with. And our focus is, yes, technology, but technology that can help our customers do the things that they want to do, have the freedom to do that with the people they want to do it with. And so we're kind of going to discuss that as this webinar today for the next 29 minutes or so. So let's move on, and as you have questions, I see some coming in. You just type them in the go to webinar window there, and Emily's there ready to answer those questions. And if we have some time at the end, I'll address some of them, but we have a lot to cover. This is why you signed up. This is the description. In this webinar, you'll learn the real value you use in automated document management systems in your office, including the peace of mind, while spending more time connecting outside the office. Investing in a document management system can be intimidating at first, but there's so many benefits from using one, and we'll discuss some of those. Not only will eFileCabinet save you money in the long run, but it will save you from, and this is what was listed there, headaches, disorganization, wasting time, filing mistakes, and manual processing. Now, headaches is kind of ambiguous. I suffer from headaches. I suffer from what they call cluster headaches. And so I know what triggers I have to avoid in order to avoid those kinds of headaches. And so some of the things you see here in terms of business practices can cause us headaches. And we'll discuss that. So we're going to jump in. I'm going to show you throughout the course of this half hour three or four short videos. And this first one is coming up now. Maybe some of you've seen it, but let me play it for you. And here we go.
Yeah, man, I'll totally be at the game tonight. Can't wait. Oh, hey, on second thought, I have a lot of work to get done later. I won't be able to make the game. Work shadow. Hey guys, brought coffee.
Looks great. Come on in. Dude, gross, dude. Your work's getting all over me.
Not cool, man. Not cool.
Work shadow.
That sounds great. I'd love to go out next weekend.
Okay. Great. Can I get your number?
I thought you'd never ask. So 712.
Work shadow. Does work follow you everywhere you go? Implement the best document management software so you can have a life outside your office.
So let's move on. One of the things that technology is allowing to happen is there are planes today that actually can fly themselves. I was on a plane not too long ago and there was a pilot next to me flying with us. And he said there'll come a day when we'll turn to the person next to us on the plane and say, do you remember the time when there was actually people in the front of these things actually flying them? And so not only do we have self-flying planes, we have self-driving cars today. Cars that are able to negotiate traffic and to be able to maneuver within traffic. And so in addition, we also have self-moving, self-driving lawnmowers. They're able to navigate how they need to navigate and under different weather conditions. And so why not there be also documents that store themselves? And so here I have several documents coming up representing different businesses. On the left is a tax business. In the center is an HR department, perhaps. On the right is a property management business. You notice there's 4 pages, 2 pages, and 3 pages. Let's add another business here. Let's talk about prescriptions, the medical business. As you look at these documents, they contain information in standard forms that identify specific individuals and their needs. In this case, you can see Charlie Chan. He needs to take this prescription morning with food. And so what happens now is I'm taking these documents, pieces of paper, putting them together. I have 10 pages, and then I'm going to scan them. Okay, and as I scan them, the software is smart enough to be able to bunch those papers together the way they're supposed to, make a PDF out of them, and to be able to prepare them very quickly to be filed. They'll file themselves just from scanning them. And so these 4 pages then, or 4, I shouldn't say pages, different documents. This is the software. On the left, you can see different cabinets. There's an accounting cabinets, HR cabinets, patient cabinets, property management cabinet. You can have as many cabinets as you want. Now these documents then will store themselves just from scanning them. And so 3 of them will go in very quickly to the cabinet, to the drawer, to the folder, and store itself. The last document I held up so you can kind of see where it's going, and that's the patients. So it goes into the correct cabinet, goes down to the correct drawer, Charlie Chan's drawer. If you look on the document, you can see the name Charlie Chan. The software is smart enough to read that name in the document from a physical document to a PDF and be able, because of that, to store it in the Charlie Chan drawer in the correct prescription folder, and then there's the document. And so as you look at all this information now on this PDF that was captured, and I come up here, this is profile information that was pulled off of that document. That's searchable information now back to the document itself. And now let's just give another example. This is just one industry. I know you come from all different industries, but this gal comes in and she has a W-2. Now what do you do with that W-2? Okay, all that information you see in the fields here identify this particular person. So most of us, the way to do it is you manually type that into the computer. And that is data entry. That is redundancy. Most people don't like to do that. It's a waste of time and, it can cause a headache or two. And so The manual data entry is the biggest stumbling block to a fully automated paperless office. And so the way to get around that is the technology today. You can just scan documents in, or you can drag and drop them in if they're already in electronic format. And the software is smart enough, intelligent enough to pull off that information off the document. Here's that W-2 coming into the Epson. It doesn't have to be an Epson. Anything with Twain drivers. I love Fujitsu. That's a great scanner. And so here is what happens. It pulls that information off. Get rid of data entry. Get rid of the manual time that it takes to put information in manually. And so what happens in this particular case, as you look to the right, to the left there, you'll see it recognizes from the information in the document captured that this is for Josephine Bruin, and it moves that document into the correct location. Now let's pretend that she is a new client. Okay, there's the document. And so she does not exist in the software. Well, the software is smart enough to recognize that, and based on that information, it will create the proper drawer and then the folder structure automatically, and then store the document. Here's one last example. Here is a property management example. It pulls that off. Now I want to show you it also reads barcodes. The software is smart enough to read a barcode and pull the information off. Now there's one caveat. Our software does not create the barcodes. They have to exist already, but it can read the barcodes. All right, so let's move on. Again, this eliminating this kinds of data entry just eliminates stress, helps us not to have a headache. Okay, technology is constantly changing. If you're old enough, really, back in the 70s, the telegram, the Western Union telegram, 150 years, it was an icon for urgency. Fax machines eliminated them. And then after the fax machine, here's a little joke. The fax machine company, I've had a tip that someone on the team has been using email. Well, then email trumped the fax industry. And so technology continues to change. If you were needing to get somewhere in the 1890s, that's how you'd travel. And so today, as you can see, it's accelerating. The level of technology is just moving forward, and the only constant today is change. Now, let's jump to just 20 years ago, 1998. Most of us remember that. It was the last year Seinfeld was on TV. Okay, now back in 1998, the kinds of technology that was around us back then was the VCR. Okay, the VCR was still there because DVDs didn't come out for another 2 years. Windows 98, do you remember Windows 98? You had digital telephones. The Yellow Pages was a multi-billion-dollar industry for directional advertising. Google eliminated that, pretty much that entire industry is dead. You had digital cameras, you had the boombox, digital clocks, you had the Walkman, which had been around already 20 years but was still popular. You had the first GPS device, and you had the micro cassette recorder that you could put in your pocket. Now, if I were with you 20 years ago and know what I know now, and I told you that in 2018, everything you see there, the functionality of everything you see there, plus more, would fit in your pocket, you would tell me I was crazy. But that's exactly what has happened and more today as technology continues to be changing. Okay, and you can see this information now. The price of a gigabyte has come down in the years. And so we should leverage technology. And if you lived in the 1500s and you had the strongest horse, the best metal, the strongest lance, okay, that's good then, but technology would trump it today. And our government today, we really leverages technology to protect us. We spend more money in protecting us in our defense than the next 7 countries combined. So it's important to defend ourselves, and then it's also important in business to leverage the latest technology. Okay, so back then, let's say you needed to be somewhere quick in the 1890s, and you took a horse and buggy, you wouldn't be wasting time because that's the fastest way to get there. However, today, if you took a horse and buggy and had to get somewhere quick, you'd be wasting time because technology has changed the landscape. Remember the brick phone back in 1984? That was $3,900, almost $4,000, which is about almost $9,500 in today's money. People had phones back then, were wealthy. They could only afford it. A full charge took 10 hours, and it only lasted 30 minutes at about 50 cents a minute. And so technology moves us forward, and you can see we've adapted as it does, and we're doing it very, very quickly. 1890s, the vertical file cabinet was actually invented in 1893. It was shown off as new technology in my hometown of Chicago at the World's Fair. Okay, what has changed? Leverage technology? Well, metal. So it's lighter, it's stronger, but it's the same thing. It's just basically made out of something better. Is that really leveraging technology? Because when you talk about a manual process, you're talking about more cabinets. You're talking about the expense of these cabinets and everything that goes into keeping a cabinet, all the paper that's involved and the expense of that paper, and then all the different folders that go into these cabinets and the cost of those folders and the maintenance of those folders. So this is an expensive process. And then there's the service contract for your big copy machine and what that costs. And then there's printers, and then there's the toners. And have you ever, per ounce, these things are very, very expensive. And then there's all of these supporting devices. And then there's also the shredder. After you've created all this paper, now you're actually destroying it. Basically, you're just spending money now destroying this paper. And then the physical cost of having to back up this. And that takes effort and money. And so again, this is when we talk about manual process, this is exactly what we're talking about. So to leverage the best technology today is not necessarily make it a metal cabinet. The way to do that is, again, avoid the technology of the 1890s and move that from a cabinet and make that become electronic documents, to become a paperless office. And so it's also for protection, because you back up paper physically, okay, and your area could be destroyed. Are we experiencing fires? I mean, the air around here in Utah is horrible. I feel bad for you folks in California because we have fires and volcanoes and tsunamis and hurricanes. And one thing I want to share is tornadoes, because I have an example, a perfect example of a customer of ours a number of years ago. This customer of ours, again, tornadoes, huge risk. The amount of tornadoes that we have in this country represents 75% of all the tornadoes in the world. And our one particular customer lived in Greensburg, Kansas, and this was May 5th, 2007, and they experienced an EF5 tornado. This thing was 2 miles wide. It leveled the city. 95% of the city was destroyed. And here is our customer. He was open the next day because he was electronic. Now back then, he didn't have it backed up online, but he did it on a disk, and he put that disk in a bank. But the bank was destroyed, but luckily his backup was not destroyed. And so it's so much easier to protect ourselves and eliminate our headaches because of technology today. So eliminate the headaches, become organized, don't waste time anymore. Filing mistakes, those can be very costly, and get rid of the manual processes. Again, this causes the headaches. This paper, we're surrounded by paper. Okay, here's a picture of my wife. This was about 2-3 weeks ago. I dropped in unannounced because this is not a stock photo. She works at a major university here in Utah. And I say, look at that desk. Now, to her credit, she wasn't sitting at her desk. I said, come over and sit in this person's desk. I want to get a picture of this. And so that's what a paper, that can be a headache. Just looking at that can be a headache. Okay, so again, we're surrounded by paper. And wherever the paper is, there you are. Because it's something you have to go to. It doesn't come to you. And really, what paper causes, you are a prisoner of the paper. If you're working in a paper office, you are a prisoner of that paper, because it keeps you from being with whom you want to be with and where you want to be, because you're stuck with this paper. So I'm going to show you another quick video here.
Freedom is being able to step away from work and know that everything you need to complete will be finished on time, automatically, giving you time to focus on what's truly important. Celebrate freedom by enjoying a little more of it with eFileCabinet.
All right, I am back. So hopefully you were able to see that. Again, paper, when you're dealing with paper, it's a waste of time. You're wasting a lot of time dealing with all that paper. This is one other video I'm going to show you here real quick. And this is a short one also.
We were used to storing paper files in bankers' boxes and filing cabinets. When customers called for information, we would end up frantically searching for their document to appear as if we had information at our fingertips. It was frustrating and slow. Even worse, different people would file differently. With Epson integrated with eFileCabinet software, all I have to do now is line up the paper on the scanner, push a button, and my paper records are scanned into my eFileCabinet system. I then simply click on the scanned document to store it in the folder I choose. It's that easy. It's like simplicity meets efficiency, and all I have to do now is to type a keyword into my eFileCabinet search field. I immediately find my client's information, I look good, and my customers are very happy.
Okay, I know it mentioned one particular scanner there. I mean, that's just one. Our software works with almost all scanners. Again, here we go looking for files, wasting time. Now I'm going to show you a quick, this is about a minute. Tom on the left is in a paper environment. Tom on the right is using eFileCabinet. And so he gets a call from a client. The client says, I need this particular document now. And so we'll just watch how this transpires. Tom on the right is searching for that document, finding the document. He can right click on that document and securely send it to the client. So Tom on the right is done. Okay, he's moving on to other things, and this is a highly paid person, so having to find things and paying somebody X amount an hour is really a waste of time and a waste of money for the company. So again, the Tom on the left, the customer is still waiting on hold. Lucky that cabinet was there in front of him and it's not down the hall and around the corner. And so he gets back on the phone and he says, hey, Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer, I found the document. And so just give me another minute or two because I've got to go to 1985, 86 technology and scan that to you. It's also embarrassing, if you know this, to lose a client's file or not be able to find one in a timely manner. That can be an embarrassment professionally. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes left. I want to show you quickly a search using having Elvis, because this is, again, an anniversary of him passing away 41 years ago. I'm bringing inside eFileCabinet, and I'm just going to type in Elvis and search for Elvis. Okay, I see a drawer come up, and I see this file come up, and there is his Social Security number. Now, the reason it found it so quickly is because the name of the document. Okay, if I actually did a search also, as I look at the profile, you're going to see a Social Security number here. So if I type in the Social Security number up here, it's going to find it because it's in the profile also. So I'm going to show you another search here. I'm going to search for Graceland. Do a search, and I get this PDF, and it is Graceland Cemetery, and this is in Chicago, just north of Wrigley Field. And the reason that came up is this is a cemetery my great-grandparents are buried in. But I'm going to do something a little different now. I'm going to come down here and do a full text search. So now I'm looking for the word Graceland inside documents. And this one comes up. Okay? And I click on this, and you'll see that this is a pamphlet, and there's Graceland pamphlet. And as I come up and zoom in, not only did it find the document that contained the word Graceland, but it found the words within the document. Every word the word Graceland appears is in the document. So if I want to come down here and just look at this area down here, I can zoom in, and there is Graceland. Or I can click here, and it'll take me to every place the word Graceland exists. And so I just wanted to show you really quick so you can find things. You can see where this document's located really quick. I can come up here and double click on this, and it takes me right to the drawer and the folder the document's in. You never lose anything with this software. All right, so we're getting down to the end here. Let me just close that. And this is the day that Einstein died. Here's his desk. You know, I guess they say if you have a cluttered desk, you really are a genius. And the technology back then in 1955, you had no area codes, no zip codes. If you wanted to meet Bill Gates back when he started Microsoft, there was no fax, there was no email, there was no cell phones, websites. You'd have to physically knock on his door or call him. And you can see from your business card how technology has evolved just from your business card. Now, we all fall somewhere on this, okay? This is how we adapt to technology. I'm going to do this very quickly. The innovators, these are the guys that take the risks to fly that first airplane. They're the ones that are the first people to jump out of the airplane or take a bullet in a new bulletproof vest. These are the risk takers. Early adopters, these are the people who are looking for opportunities. They're taking a little risk, but they want to get ahead of the crowd. And the rest of us, early majority and late majority, technology creates change, and then there's the laggards that we hate change. We're forced into it. We have to go there just to be able to compete. And as time goes forward, it brings this whole process in. Now, we don't have a time for this. I can send you a link, but this is kind of one of our solutions is workflow, because documents we have are smart enough to store themselves, and they're also smart enough through our workflow to move where they need to go. All right, we have just 1 minute left. Basic core value is happy employees, happy customers, and happy families, to be able to have the time to be with your family and to not be tied down to old technology and manual processes. And so we're right at the 11:29. So I want to thank everyone for attending. I want to encourage you too, because if you go to our website down here at www.eFileCabinet.com, you can sign up for watching some more videos, a free demo. You can actually test the product for free, kick the tires and drive it. And we can spend more time with you on one-on-one to answer your questions more specifically. And also, there's so much more. It's very simple. Our solution is very simple, yet there's so many different wonderful pieces that make your life easier. Again, I want to thank everyone for the time you've been with us today. This 30 minutes has gone by very quickly. We have a bunch of questions. Those of you that need to jump off, that's fine, because it was just for 30 minutes. And I will look and see if there's some questions here. If anyone else wants to hang out for a little while. We've recorded this also, so we'll make this available to you via a link to this recording. Okay, let's see if there's anything here that we can all benefit from. A question from Bonnie. This was before we even got started. Can I shred all of my paper if I e-file it? Well, I'll be able to access my files anywhere I go. Yes, I didn't get a chance to show you our mobile app, but just from your smartphone, you can access everything you can access inside eFileCabinet. Wherever there's an internet connection, or wherever you have your phone that is connected, we have a free mobile app, and you can access everything as you go along. Let's see. Okay, here's a question from Samantha. Samantha says, will this webinar actually show how the product works instead of just trying to convince you to go paperless? We do have, I kind of showed you at a very high level because the time is very short, and we can get into showing you how it works. There's videos that do that, or you're more than welcome to sign up for a demo, and that way when you're one-on-one with a person, you can kind of guide them as to the kinds of things that are important to your business. So that's a great question, but this webinar was not designed to get specifically into the software. We can do that for you though. Okay, here's Deborah says, so these things on Elvis, you scan these documents, Elvis Social Security, that is dangerous. Yeah, the software we have, and I didn't get into it, we have a whole training or showing on how this is very, very secure. It's as secure as if you do online banking or online credit card transactions. So if you have like a Social Security, one of the things I do with my smartphone is I have my driver's license there, And so if I ever lose it, I can pull it up here and it's secure. It's very secure. You can put your credit cards in there. You can put your passport. If I were to travel, I would have a picture of my passport that I could pull up using eFileCabinet. It's that secure. Now, is there total security in this world? No. We have a whole new webinar. Everything's a risk, but we're as secure as you can get. Okay, and so we take that very seriously. What security is in place on your documents in eFileCabinet? Again, I would invite. We have again we have the security. There's different levels of security. There's the encryption at the highest level. There's also role-based security, and that is internal, protect you from maybe a rogue employee or just a mistake. So there's security that determines who can see what and when they can see it and what they can do with it, or if they see it at all at different levels. So if I'm an employee and I'm only supposed to see a document, I can't change it. That document for me, maybe I can download it, but I can't make any changes to the original. Again, we have role-based security that protects us from the inside, and then we're encrypted that protects us from people from the outside that are bad. And so, again, if you're interested in that, we'd be happy to show you in detail our security. Price, David asked for price. You can go to our website. Our prices are listed there, www.efilecabinet.com. And can I use the software outside of the U.S.? My company is in Arabia, Emirate. Yes, we have multi-users throughout the world. That yes, I would. We'll have somebody specifically reach out to you so we know the specifics on your country. But if you have internet connection and you're able to access things on the internet, then you will be fine anywhere in the world. All right, those of you who have stuck around, thank you. We'll make sure that all of your questions are answered in full. I want to thank again each of you for taking time. I've enjoyed this time with you, and I hope that wherever you are at, you have a wonderful rest of the day. And I'm going to say goodbye for now.